Hey guys, welcome to my channel Miss Recap. Today I'm going to explain a 2018 Chinese martial arts action movie called Shadow or Ying. The movie revolves around one of the surrogates of Chinese ancient noble and king called Shadow, who has to bravely risk his life to prove his loyalty to his master. The movie begins with Commander Ziyu, who just arrives at the king's place and informs the other that he has challenged Yang Kang to a rematch to claim Jing city, which has been under Yang Kingdom's occupation for several years after he lost a duel with Yang Kang. The king of Pei Kingdom is enraged and thinks that the duel is a bad idea because it will destroy the alliance. But the commander makes it clear that it is necessary action for their kingdom. After the commander leaves with his wife, Xiao Ai, the king tells his minister, Lu, that he plans to marry his beloved sister, Qing Ping, with Yang Kang's son named Yongping, to maintain peace between them, while showing to them that Ziyu is acting on his own. Later that night, in the commander's residence, Xiao Ai secretly enters a room that connects to a cave, where the real commander Ziyu, who is severely wounded, is attempting to create the same wound on the fake Ziyu's chest, whose real name is Jingzhou. He is purposely employed to be the commander's surrogate, known as the Shadow, to retake Jing city. He was taken as Ziyu's uncle when he was 8 because he looks just like Ziyu and was trained to be a decent shadow. Since then, Jingzhou has wanted to repay the kindness for saving him from hunger 20 years ago. Ziyu promises that he will let Jingzhou meet his mother again after the battle is won. After that, Jingzhou and Xiao Ai return to their residence, where she teaches Jing how to play guchang, a Chinese plucked zither. In the bedroom, the fake commander chooses to sleep on the floor because he is not the real husband of Xiao Ai. The next day is an urgent meeting arranged by the king. The fake commander Ziyu wants to be beheaded as a punishment for declaring a war with Yang Kang. However, the king refuses and decides to revoke his powers as the commander instead. Before he is dismissed, the king demands to see the wound from Yang's saber on his chest. When the king applies an ointment on it, he realizes that the wound looks fresh. The fake Ziyu claims that the original wound has healed, and he deliberately slashes his chest as a reminder of his greatest shame. He states that the wound will never heal until they have successfully reclaimed Jing city. Everyone in the room, including the king, believes him and lets him leave. After the trial, the king makes fun on Ziyu's self-inflicted action, but his sister thinks it's an horrible act and accuses his brother of being a coward. Back at the cave, Jingzhou continues his training with the real commander, who mimics Yang's battle style so that he would be more prepared for the upcoming duel. Unfortunately, Jingzhou, who equips himself with a metal umbrella weapon, is not able to land a single strike on the commander. Ziyu finishes the training by demonstrating the final blow he took from Yang and then becomes desperately furious with his surrogate because he is still not focused. On the other hand, the Yang of Pei Kingdom finally receives an answer from the Yang family regarding the marriage proposal. However, Yang Ping proposes to take Qing Ping as a concubine instead. He also offers them his personal dagger as an engagement gift. Without doubt, the king decides to accept the proposal, which makes Qing Ping furious because she was not informed about the plan at all. General Tian, who thinks that the offer is an insult, finally speaks up, shouting that their kingdom will perish under the king's reign. Offended with the statement, the king dismisses him from his position. As the general walks away from the hall, the king attempts to shoot an arrow towards him, but he misses. Before the king shoots his second arrow, Qing Ping intervenes and eventually agrees to the proposal. Meanwhile, in Jing city, Yang Kang is testing his son's fight ability in a duel. After the training, Yang Kang is impressed by how Commander Ziyu, who was actually Jingzhou, has completely recovered from the wound, but his son is optimistic that they won't give any trouble to them as the king just sacked his two best fighters. Back to the cave, Jingzhou is ready for the next training session. Before they start, Xiao Ai suggests Jingzhou embraces soft and slow fighting style as the metal umbrella weapon represents yin in Chinese philosophy, which is associated with water and femininity. Because yin counters yang, she thinks that it will be more effective to counter Yang Kang fierce and hard fighting style, which represent yang or fire. Xiao Ai directly demonstrates the feminine fighting style and it works. Ziyu still does not believe her and tells her to pair with Jingzhou. With that techniques, the pair also manages to dodge Yang Kang's signature move. Ziyu finally realizes that it's effective, deducing that there is a hope to beat Yang Kang. After that, Jingju is dismissed. In the middle of the forest, Jingju, acting as a commander Ziyu, meets ex-general Tian and tells him that he has finally found the winning techniques to beat Yang's kingdom. He then hands over the flute and orders him to train 100 convicts who is recruited by Ziyu. Afterwards, he brings the Tian to meet the real Ziyu in person, where he explains to the general about Jingju's role as his shadow and his plan to become the king after retaking Jing city. He also intends to promote Tian into the commander role if that happens. The next day, Tian begins the practice session with the convicts, telling them to wield their umbrella weapons with feminine moves to beat Yang's sabre techniques. Meanwhile, Xiao Ai, Ziyu and Jingju are having a tea time together, as tomorrow is the D-Day of the duel and the commander is optimistic with the result. As the pair return to their bedroom, Jingju confesses to Xiao Ai that he has been willing to obey the commander because of her, and it's their last night together. Xiao Ai decides to sleep with him while being watched by Ziyu through the secret hole. In the morning, Jingju arrives at Jing city, bringing the Yin-Yang arena with him, and challenges Yang Kang to duel as agreed. Yang Ping senses something is odd as he comes alone to the city. Turns out the Tian and 100 convicts are waiting below the platform. They secretly dive into the water to enter the city undetected. At the same time, Tian is startled when he sees Qing Ping is sneaking among them. In the arena, the duel, which uses the best of 3 battle format, finally begins. The first battle is easily won by Jingju. However, Yang Kang manages to land a slash on Jingju's chest in the second round and wins the round. In the final round, Jingju uses his feminine move to block Yang's signature sabre move, causing the sabre to be thrown away. Yang reacts fast, grabs the sabre back, and launches a counter attack, which manages to hit Jingju's knee. He offers to call it a draw because Jingju manages to survive 3 rounds. But he insists on continuing the duel, which means that it will be a life or death duel. While most of the guards' attention are occupied in the duel, the convicts sneaks into the city and start eliminating the remaining guards. After that, they take over their new metal umbrella weapons and begin spinning forwards to dodge the upcoming arrows. While taking the guards out with the crossbows, the close combat between the guards and the convicts eventually occurs. When a convict is about to cut down the Yang's banner, Yang Ping appears and kills him. Moments later, Qing Ping also shows up and battles him, but then gets slashed in the stomach. As he walks towards her, he questions her decision to take part in the fight. He thinks that a woman should do cooking and other things at home. When he gets closer to her, Qing Ping stabs him with the dagger she got as an engagement gift, instantly killing him. Afterwards, the banner is toppled down by Tian, and the Jing city is finally recaptured. In the middle of the final battle, Yang Kang is distracted by the fallen banner and eventually becomes furious. When he is about to finish him off with one of the umbrella blades, Jingju quickly snaps the blade, causing it to slit Yang's throat instead and kill him. In the evening, Jingju returns to his childhood house in Jing city to meet his mother, only to find that she has been stabbed to death. Suddenly, several assassins appear and attempt to kill him. The final ensues and the assassins almost kill him until an emissary comes to the rescue. He then tells Jingju that he is sent by the king and brings him back to the Pace Kingdom. Meanwhile, the king is very shocked when he sees his sister's body. The following day, the king and the others celebrate the reclaiming of Jing city, and the king personally congratulates the fake commander for the achievement. At the same time, several assassins who are ordered by the king arrive at Ziyu residence in an attempt to assassinate the real commander Ziyu. Back in the hall, the king suddenly dismisses everyone in the room except Lu, Xiao Ai, and Jingju. Turns out the king knows that Lu has been reporting to Yang all this time and ends his life for being a traitor. Surprisingly, the king is also aware that Jingju is a shadow of Ziyu and offers him to become the new commander because the king believes that he is loyal and obedient. Not long after, an assassin arrives at the hall with a box containing Ziyu's head. However, the box is empty and the assassin stabs the king from behind. He then removes the mask and reveals himself as Ziyu. Ziyu then provokes Jingju by telling him that it was the king who ordered to kill Jingju's mother. He then orders his shadow to finish the king off to avenge his mother. As Jingju reaches for the sword, Ziyu attempts to kill him from behind, but the shadow is prepared and repeatedly stabs Ziyu. Afterwards, he puts the mask back and pulls the king's dying body next to Ziyu's body. He subsequently stabs the king to his death and then purposely puts the sword in Ziyu's hand. Jingju walks out of the hall and announces to the others that the king has been assassinated, but he managed to kill the culprit. However, Tian does not seem to believe him. At the end of the movie, Xiao Ai runs towards the door and looks out towards an opening with an unclear expression. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. If you like it, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel.